Now we move on to our first panel discussion of the day. Let us hear perspectives from content creators and examine the impact on consumers. The panel will be chaired by Ms. Peeta Roy Chaudhary, editor T2 The Telegraph. The topic of the panel discussion is the building a winning influencers marketing strategy. Ms. Meeta Roy Chaudhary is the editor of T2 and T2 Online, the fashion, lifestyle and entertainment vertical from the House of The Telegraph. She herself is a veteran journalist who has worked in various areas of journalism for the past 24 years and worked with the Times of India and Asian Age before joining The Telegraph. She took over as the editor of T2 6 years back, and under her leadership, T2 has reached unprecedented heights. Welcome, ma'am, and she would be introducing the panelists today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank the BCCI for, inviting me to chair this session on the very, very relevant topic of crafting winning strategies using influencer marketing. So as the gentleman who spoke before me made it amply clear that influencer marketing today is a very, very crucial component of the world of marketing. So teaming up with influencers is proving to be a big game changer for many brands across the world, and not just the big brands. I mean, brands of every size in every segment today are benefiting from influencer marketing. So, and while about a decade back, online endorsements were mostly restricted to celebrities, today it has evolved and, expanded beyond celebrities to include non-celebrities, who are social media influencers, who are using their influence to impact brand reputation and customer purchase decisions. As most of us know, that what works for influencers is the kind of high trust that they are able to build with their followers over a period of time. And as a result, their recommendations become a very, a kind of a validation for brands. But as easy as it may sound or seem, influencer marketing or working with digital content creators requires a very, very well-planned and strategic approach. So in today's session, we are going to delve deeper into the world of influencer marketing and, understand, how to craft winning strategies in using influencer marketing. And with us today, we have some experts in the field who themselves, some of whom are themselves, very successful influencers who are impacting purchase decisions and brand reputation majorly. So before we start, I would like to introduce the panel and call them on stage. So our first speaker is a man who wears many hats, from a tutor to a course mentor to a YouTuber. He knows how to make his journey diverse. With an honors in physics, he discovered his love for computer science and mastered the subject. However, there was always an unquenched thirst in Shivaji Paul to make travel videos. An avid traveler and lover of adventure, he started making YouTube videos at the age of 47 and started posting travel vlogs on his YouTube channel Explorer Shivaji, which instantly attracted travel lovers' eyes and is today a super successful travel channel. So I would like to welcome Mr. Paul to the panel. So our next man is somebody I think all of us in the city knows. He loves to collect and share stories and likes to call himself a storyteller. He's a content creator, a published author, and a first-generation entrepreneur. So we all know Indrajit Lahiri as a co-founder of Foodka, a very successful food-themed web series on YouTube. He has published books on culinary experiences, is a speaker at ListFests and platforms like Josh Talks and TED Talk. He has also initiated a podcast channel by the name Ebong Indrajit. Welcome to the panel, Indrajit. Our next speaker is an engineer by profession with a B-School degree. He has dabbled in the IT world before finding his calling in OTT. Shayantan Guha is now the General Manager, Brand Strategy at Hoichoi, where he handles branded content, communications, and partnerships. Welcome to the panel, Mr. Guha. We look forward to hearing from you the brand perspective on the topic. Okay, so our fourth and last speaker in the session is, again, somebody all of us know very well. A radio jockey by profession, he shot to fame with the super hit Oh Margot series, where he tickled our funny bones and where he also got glimpses of the actor in him. And RJ with Ish FM now, RJ Shomak is also a successful actor and acted in the famous Eken Babu series and films, and also acted in films like Hami 2. Shomak is also making his mark as a content creator and influencer and is here to add value to our discussion today. Can we have you on stage, please? Thank you all of you for joining us here on the stage. And before we start the session, can we have a round of applause for all of them? Thank you. So, we would like to start with the fundamentals of influencer marketing. And I would first like to address my first question to Indrajit Lahiri. So, Mr. Lahiri, we would like you to take us through the fundamentals of influencer marketing. And, my question would be, why is influencer marketing essentially for brands today? And, how does it score over, conventional forms of marketing? And we also want to ask you that how do brands identify the right platforms for their target audience? And what are the key considerations for brands for finding and partnering with the right influencers?
Thank you, Smita. And I would first love to thank BCC and I for getting us so-called content creators or influencers. That's probably one of the most bastardized words to this serious business platform. We are supposed to be serious, but with all of us, I am not very sure how much we can attain. কতটা সিরিয়াস থাকা সম্ভব হবে আমি জানি না।
তুমি শুরু করবে যা বুঝতে পারছি, তুমি শুরু করবে যা বুঝতে পারছি।
এই বাজে ইয়ার কি পারবে না
ঠিক।
একদম। Okay, so influencer marketing. আচ্ছা, how many of you in this room do not understand Bengali? Fine, then you have to manage with my broken English. You don't have any other option, I guess. Okay, so influencer marketing works when probably a person believes in another person. It's not about what he or she is promoting, whether I am holding a beer or a tea or a coffee or something, but how you believe in that person that it's supposed to be true. That is called micro-influencer marketing, where many of us fall in, at least in different platforms. For example, technically micro-influencer is supposed to be, correct me if I'm wrong, it's less than 100K subscribers or followers. My Insta handle is around, I think, 35, 36K odd. Shivaji Das, Shomoks are much, much higher. My YouTube is slightly better, LinkedIn is definitely better. The challenge depends on which brands wants to work on which platform. আমি যদি দু তিনটে ক্যাম্পেইনের কথা বলি, let's go start with a campaign called Jagore. Have any of you heard that name, Jagore by Tata Tea? Okay, so that ad was designed as Mr. Tripathi moving in as a political leader, asking for vote, and one normal, regular mango people roasting him. But when it went on to the YouTube, they brought in Rahul Dravid, who is supposedly known as one of the most gentle, caring Bhodrolok on the playground, obviously the wall of the cricket. He was projected as Indira Nagar ka Gunda. I don't know whether you guys have watched that video or not. On YouTube, on Instagram, he was projected as Indira Nagar ka Gunda. He was projected in bullying people. And somebody introducing that there's another side of Rahul Dravid, which we may not have seen. Jagore was a pretty successful campaign. On the second hand, I would like to talk on a campaign. So, why Jagore and Indira Nagar Gunda? Two storylines with two different people on two different platforms. On ad, it was one with the celebrity, with an actor, with Mr. Tripathi. On the second hand, when it went on to YouTube, it was on an entirely different thing, on a storytelling, how multiple personalities can come on a people. Then on Instagram, with that same thing, there was Rahul Dravid's BTS, where he is doing what he is not supposed to do, where he doesn't do it normally. If I take on to Cred, I think many of you have used the brand. We love spinning those coins, which we don't have any damn idea what we are going to do, but somehow we love spinning that. So they went on to a LinkedIn campaign with Infosys, where they went on to have CEOs or CTOs sharing his experiences or her experiences, and then moving on with the things. Anyway, the bottom line is, first, for an influencer marketing campaign to be successful, I think Shayantan will agree with me, the brands need to be very clear on what they are looking at. If myself, I'm a fashion disaster, I'll come to tell you why. So if I am supposed to represent a clothing brand, that would be a oitihashik bhul. Now, why I am coming to that? When I was coming to this session in today's platform, my son who's there, he told me, Baba, দেখ এখানে সবাই না কোট ফোট পরে এসছে and you are wearing this thing. I'm not very sure তোকে কথা বলতে দেবে কিনা. But ঠিক है, so this is an ঐতিহাসিক ভুল maybe. This is something which every brand needs to be very clear. I look like a fat foodie, maybe somebody who's in my mid 40s, maybe somebody who has traveled a lot, who loves to travel, but I'm fit for food, travel, storytelling, may not be somebody for a clothing brand. So that's how it works probably.
Thank you, Indrajit. We don't mind your clothing choices at all.
Coming from a beautiful lady, satisfied my midlife ego.
Okay, so now from that we would like to get a little deeper into, influencer campaigns, how they are strategized and how they are designed and created. So I would like to direct my question to Mr. Shivaji Paul. What are the key factors for the success of an influencer campaign? And what would be your tips for co-creating content that resonates with audiences? We would like to know about the importance of storytelling in influencer campaigns.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. First of all, identifying the right influencer is a must-doing thing for the right product. That's the first thing I would like to put on here. And the second thing is that for what product you are campaigning, is it a launch product or it is already there in the market, you are actually increasing the sensation, or for that you are looking for the influencers? কিসের জন্য আপনি করছেন সেটা কিন্তু খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট for the top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, low of the funnel. কিসের জন্য আপনি করছেন সেটাকে আগে আপনাকে আইডেন্টিফাই করতে হবে. You need to identify that thing first. The second thing is that while getting engaged, while you are actually making a contract with the influencers, what are the parameters that you are going to look out for? How you are going to find out the right influencer for your product? What are the parameters in the analytics you are going to look out? First is the number of views, of course. Number of views the influencers are getting. It's not the number of subscribers. Most of the time, it is the wrongdoing. Okay. People are actually going after the views. Going after the number of subscribers, not the number of views. Even an influencer with number of subscribers, say 30K, may have views of 2 million per month. So while you guys, the brands, are looking after for the influencers for your brand, you need to actually track down the influencers by the number of views, not by the number of subscribers. Number 2, parameter. From which countries most of the views are coming from? That is the thing. So whenever you are actually looking out for the influencer, this is the second parameter that you should look for. কোন দেশ থেকে, যেমন ধরুন আমার ক্ষেত্রে I am having 4 to 5 million views per month, but 25% of those views are coming from Bangladesh. So if you are having a product in India, that may not work, or you are actually going to calculate in that way, যে না 25% is not there among 4 million, 5 million views. The third parameter is the age group. that you must consider. একজন রোস্টিং যে করছে তার ক্ষেত্রে এজ গ্রুপ মে বি ফ্রম 16 to 22. That's the maximum density of the viewers. এবার আপনার প্রোডাক্ট যদি এরকম হয়, সে you are actually selling a car. So the decision maker to purchase a car is the head of the family. He might be in the age group of 35 to 50 or maybe in that category. So finding the right influencer is actually wrong there if you are finding a person who is actually having density in the age group, say 14 to 24. That may be wrong. So the age group is the other factor. The retention is the other factor that you need to look after. কতক্ষণ একটা ভিডিওর মধ্যে একজন ইনফ্লুয়েন্সার এঙ্গেজ করে রাখছেন. So these are the factors primarily that the brand should look after while making the contract or finding the right influencer. Now the next thing, if it is the top of the funnel, then of course, as Mr. Dude just said, the reels are there. They are the most influencing factors right now. You can actually engage, say, 100 of influencers in on Instagram or Facebook, maybe on any other platform like LinkedIn or Twitter, in order to launch the reels or short videos, short form of videos. This is proved that এটা can actually take the message to the large number of audiences. সুতরাং এখানে যদি এরকম হয় যে you are actually looking for the final conversions, the bottom, ঠিক আছে, সেক্ষেত্রে the long format video যাদের ক্ষেত্রে বেশি পপুলার তাদেরকে এঙ্গেজ করতে হবে. But if you want to actually make it big, just মেসেজটা পৌঁছাতে হবে, short format video. So these are the strategies that you may actually adopt in order to reach out to your customers.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
And one more thing, it has to be a continuous process. Once you are actually engaging yourself with the influencer, instantly you may get some bell-shaped curve, sharp rise hobe, engagement আসবে, conversion ও হবে, but it has to be a continuous process. Brand এটা অনেক সময় ভুলে যায়. হ্যাঁ, সিজনাল যদি হয় কোনো প্রোডাক্ট যে একটা সিজনের জন্য, সেই সিজনের আগের থেকে যখন থেকে শুরু করা উচিত তখন থেকেই শুরু করতে হবে এবং এটা কন্টিনিউয়াসলি থ্রু আউট দ্য সিজন, যেটা মিস্টার দুদেজাও তখন বললেন, হ্যাজ টু বি ডান. দিস আর দ্য স্ট্র্যাটেজিজ.
একটা জিনিস অ্যাড করতে চাইবো, শিবাজিদের এটা সহজ ভাষায় শেষকালে বলছে, আপনারা যদি আমাদেরকে হায়ার করেন না, অনেকগুলো ভিডিওর জন্য হায়ার করবেন, একটু রেটটাও কম আসবে, রিটেনশনটাও বেটার হয়.
Let me give you an example. আমার ক্ষেত্রে বসুমতি চাল, we are representing বসুমতি rice right now. They have made a contract with us for 11 months. So আমরা যেখানে বেড়াতে যাচ্ছি সেখানে যখন আমি কোথাও চাল ভালো পাচ্ছি, সে আমি প্লেনেই খাই কি ট্রেনেই খাই বা কোথাও খাই, আই এম কম্পেয়ারিং যে বসুমতির চাল হলে ভালো হতো, জাস্ট এটুকু. আরো একটা কথা বলতে চাইবো এখানে, যে ইনফ্লুয়েন্সিং ব্যাপারটা কিন্তু অনেক আগের থেকেও ছিল. যে মান্তি পিসি পুরীর থেকে গিয়ে এসে বললো ওই হোটেলটা ভালো, তো আমরা কিন্তু ইনফ্লুয়েন্সড হলাম. Yes. Okay, no problem. I'm sorry. Yeah. So actually, we are digital. We are actually have a contract with the Bosumati Rice, and they have made a contract for 11 months. So we are actually comparing everywhere when we are traveling. Since we are travel video makers, so when we are traveling, eating is part of our travel as well. So when we are having rice, we are always comparing how this rice is in comparison with the Bosumati. So people get to know that is there. Bosumati rice is there. The brand is there. So this is how it works. So when you are actually keeping the contract for many months or many days, then it's more impactful. That's the other strategy.
What Mr. Paul also said was like that influencer marketing was always there. Like, you know, in the sense of word of mouth, somebody has gone somewhere, visited somewhere, they come and tell you that if you go to, say, Puri, you stay in this particular hotel. So that's influencing and we get influence. So it was always there. So now it's there in a more structured and organized manner, and it's kind of an industry now.
With the phone and the internet, it's a big bang. We know the connection has been made with the general audience. Now let me tell you, Mr. Bachchan, he endorses Muthoot Finance, but he never actually took a loan from Muthoot Finance, right? But I, myself, I'm eating that rice which I'm endorsing, and I'm actually, it's trustworthy for the viewers. We are actually taking them to the place where we visit. They trust us. They actually think that we are their family. When we meet some of our subscribers on road, now I was talking to one of the prominent actor in the Tollywood industry last week. I told him, "Acha, tomar songe, if you meet someone who knows you, do they ask your phone number?" He said, "No, not at all. But they do for us. If I meet with my subscriber, first of all, they will take a selfie, and the second thing is that they will ask for my phone number. The third thing is that they will invite us to their home for dinner or lunch." So this is the kind of bonding that we are having, influencers are having with the viewers. It's so deep. It's not fake, or it's not stardom-like thing that we traditionally have with the silver screen or the playground or the stars from the playground. It's different. They think that we are their family. So whatever we are talking, that's real, or that's not fake, or that's not something manipulated. So this is how it works. So it's having deep impact in the mind of the consumer. So that is how it works.
Thank you. I think you highlighted the familiarity and the relatability factor of the consumers. Thank you. So I would like to go to Mr. Shantanu Guha. So since you represent, one of the most successful OTT brands in India, so then you take us how you track the success of influencer marketing, as in their like the reach and the engagement and the conversions and all that. And do you have any tools to measure the performance or results of influencer marketing?
So first of all, I'd like to thank BCC and I for this. And so before going into the tools and metrics of it, I'd like to tell that how I personally or brands look at influencers. So we are living in a wonderful time now, as Mr. Paul was saying, that influencers were there from long back. Some positive, some negative. Growing up, influencer term was used in a negative connotation personally, because parents used to say that don't actually meet with that guy, you are being influenced by him or her. So that's how it was earlier. But now in this digital context, what's happening is influencers are more of a distribution channel for us. So when I look at a Shomok or a Foodka or a Explorer Shivaji, they are media channels for a brand. So what they're giving me is a reach to a new audience, which
I thought I was your friend.
yeah, but bad influence too. But
Yeah. कहाँ आ गए दोस्ती यार, दोस्त मतलब.
so these are distribution channels for a brand. So I know if I have to do something in the travel niche, if I just spend mindlessly, I may not reach my target audience, the intended target audience. Instead, if I collaborate with Mr. Paul, I get his subscribers on board to come with me. So that's the wonderful thing that's happening nowadays. And I think, so distribution is very important. And to that, there's a guy called Derek Thompson. He had said one thing which stuck with me. He said that if content is king today, distribution is the kingdom. And we are all trying to just live by those words. Now coming to the metrics of it. So it depends on what the brand's objective is. It can be just, as it was discussed earlier, top of the mind awareness, top funnel. If that is the thing, then probably I would only look at engagement and the number of mentions I'm getting, what I'm talking about, how many people are talking about me, and what kind of engagement I'm getting. My other objective can be sales or conversion. So for a brand like, say, Hoi Choi, personally, what I'd like to focus on in most of the campaigns would be of people talking about it. It's for generating buzz, but maybe for a brand who is into betting or say something like a Khata book, they would want installs. So they would want their influencers to talk to people in such a way that they drive installs for them, because they do not really care about that if 100 people are talking about Khata book or not. They would rather go for 20 people talking about it and installing the app. Similarly, the Fevicol was discussed a little while earlier. For them, the objective would be, say, lead generation, Fevicol or any automobile brands, which then they would use to market and remarket their campaigns again. So these are some of the objectives that brands usually run after. And to track those, obviously, I can use UTM links. So whenever someone is posting, I can give them a unique link and see that how many people are actually visiting my site from that link. Or if I am running a discount campaign, I can give them a unique promo code. If I'm running a 20% off campaign, I'll give a Showmock 20 off as a code there. And we'll see that how effective it was, how many people actually use that code to land on my site and actually subscribe. And along with that, there are other ways too, like there are tools like we generally use, say, Google Analytics, Firebase for this UTM tracking and all this. And also the other way would be to, so it's a little, measurement is still a little vague today because we cannot really attribute 100% of it. But there are ways we use it, like say we are running a campaign with influencers and I know that the usual traffic on my website is 100 people per day. And during the campaign, I see it has crossed my baseline and there's a spike. I'm getting 115, 120 people per day without doing anything extra other than the influencer campaign. So that's how we usually go about measuring it. And yep, so I think.
Thank you, Mr. Goa. That was quite informative. Shomok, I would like to ask you about the challenges of being an influencer. What the challenges of influencer marketing, like fake followers, brand misalignment and controversies, and how would one, what would you advise people to deal with them, the challenges of influencer marketing?
That's a very deep question. Firstly, like everybody said, thank you for inviting me here. I think one question that we are not really asking is, what is an influencer? What do you mean by that? Somebody with a lot of followers. Because followers are an end product. The followers come last. Your engagement, your views, they come last. If I try to put it very simply, an influencer is an artist, a creator. Somebody who one day woke up and thought that let's do something, kuch karte hain, video banate hain kuch. Let's do something. In the previous session, there was a discussion point that the influencer is doing something for their followers. It's actually the other way around. The influencer or the artist or the creator is doing something for his or her own personal fulfillment. And that is resonating with people across a demographic. And it is not just people with followers. I think I come from a profession which is pretty old now. It's old and dated. It used to be one of the most hip jobs back in the 90s, that of a radio jockey. But this is what I still do, and this is what we have done. Let's say an RJ or a presenter or an anchor. In today's context, a podcaster, somebody who has a microphone and is saying that, hey, something great happened with me last night. I went to this place and it was great. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I saw this, I met these people. And while I was going there, I had the opportunity to travel by this app cab, for example, I'm saying. So what it essentially is, this person who doesn't fit the blocks of society always, like Steve Jobs wrote that it's the square pegs in the round hole. And a creator or an artist or an influencer is essentially that. 2 sessions back, we took the example of Samay Raina. Samay Raina has the most vulgar content that you will come across. But he's still not getting cancelled because there are so many people who resonates with the language that he speaks. Yes, it is abusive. There are expletives, but I think we've moved past that, and we are in a time wherein we have accepted that even for some great shows and OTT content, We have seen that all of that has been brought into the stride. But Samay is not doing that to impress anybody. Samay is doing that because Samay is that person. So I think the identification begins with who is that person? What does that person do? Not the followers, not the views or engagement. What does that person do? I'll give you a small example with this very recent association with Hoichoi that we've done. We've done this travel show where an actor, a celebrity, goes out with me on a certain destination. We travel, we talk about life, we have some food, and there is a spices partner, and all the cooking happens and all of that. It's a very regular format. What sets it apart in my it's our baby. I'm just saying about it. I'm very proud of it, but I'm not trying to be pompous about it. But what in my head sets it apart is the conversation, is the quality of being casual with a person. It's not, hey, come try, test, taste our food. It's not that. The food is happening in the background.
It's a storytelling. you're trying-
Yes, absolutely. We will talk about storytelling, but also this person is very important. A lot of, I think, I am nobody to share an expertise. I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to do what I feel speaks to me. And a lot of people like me who have no clue what they're doing in life have got a little bit of fame because they are good at what they want to do. It is important to keep that space. A person who's a good speaker should be allowed to speak in an environment wherein the brand can associate, wherein there can be synergy, wherein there can be simultaneous growth for the brand and the influencer per se. I would rest till now. I think I've given you an answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Shomak. So I'll come back to Mr. Guha again. So I would like to ask you, like, how can brands ensure authenticity in influencer collaborations? Like, what do you keep in mind to ensure authenticity?
So nowadays the problem with, I think, most brands is they have like rules set in stone, which doesn't really work for influencer marketing. Samay Rayana was a very good example, and most brands are very demanding that way, that, okay, you have to talk about my product. This is the tone of voice we use and this. So the good thing is nowadays people are a little relaxed about it, brands are a little relaxed, but still it's there. So if I have to take an example, I remember there was a campaign by Tata Tea when they launched their beverage. I think it was named Fruski. And they had used Biswa Kalyan Rath as the face of the campaign. And Biswa Kalyan's tweet and videos, they were speaking like, so I have tried this new variant of Tata Tea and it's good. I've tried this new green tea by Tata Tea and it's good. So that did not resonate with the audience at all, and it faced a lot of backlash. I mean, knowing Biswa Kalyan Rath, people who know him, he would probably say, "Hey, green tea, tera naam kya hai?" But that did not happen. So it's very important for brands to give the creators that space. So now, if I am, say, collabing with someone like Unmesh Ganguly in West Bengal, and ask him to make a content only in English and in a refined language, that won't probably work. Not with my audience, not with his audience. He needs to speak Bakri. he needs to, I mean, step out and do something. So that is one. So brands need to understand that space, and they need to give them the freedom to make a content that resonates with the influencers' audiences. Because that is the reason in the first place why we are using the influencer, why that influencer is onboarded. Otherwise, it could have just been any normal ad, and we would have spent money on that. So what that does, it also, that's the reason things go viral. I mean, I may run my ad on a TV channel and 1 lakh people can see it in one day, but that's a broadcast. It's not virality. So that is one thing that we should keep in mind. Secondly, to be authentic, I think another problem that there is in this industry is, so not all influencers are like robots, they are humans. So we need to take cognizance of that. They will have their own opinions, they will have their own views. So probably one is endorsing a brand today, endorsing a competitor brand tomorrow. So that check needs to be done by one. So, like, and they may have other views as well. So, I may want to use an influencer who has very radical political views, but I have to think beforehand that will that work for my brand or not. So I might as well not use the influencer there. So that those calls have to be taken beforehand. And there are other things, and there are some things which are still lazily done. Like I am using 500 influencers and I give them one piece of copy, which happens during a lot of launch campaigns. That it's the same hashtags and the same caption that goes around there. So now people know, people are smart enough to find out, okay, so this is just a normal ad. So the thing with people nowadays is, more than, all the brands wants to play on novelty, but people like familiarity more, and that's why influencers work nowadays. So what happens is people do not know what they like. That I have realized in my small career. But people like what they know. So there has to be an element of surprise if the product is not familiar, and that influencers bring to the table. So, yeah.
So yeah, so two key points from what it is that, I mean, one is it boils down to finding the right guy for the right job. Yeah, and the second is like relatability and familiarity, which Mr. Paul had also highlighted. So now, I would like to move on to the future of influencer marketing. And for that, I would like to go to Mr. Lyrie. Why don't you take us to the trends and the future of influencer marketing? What are the emerging trends? And also you spoke briefly about micro-influence and macro-influence. So if you could elaborate a little more on that, and if, what's the future of that going forward?
So, trends in influencers is something, there's only one trend that we do not know what it's going to be by the next year. Number one. Number two, short format contents are virals. They are the instant things. Even my son, who always watches this YouTube shorts or some shorts somewhere, and I try to scold him, whatever, but they are the future. The problem with shorts is you can never go back and find them. If you are, say, you are talking from the perspective of a brand, let's put it as a Shalimar, because I saw those Shalimar bag. So, say Shumak or Shibajida puts up a Shalimar reel, it goes viral, couple of millions, billions views. The challenge is after 7 days, you cannot just go back and find that same reel again. Wherein, in the long format content, there's a searchability thing, there's a backlink thing. It gets tracked to your brand, it gets tracked to the backlinks. These are the technical aspects of what it's going to be. So it's going to be a mix and match method. It's going to be short format contents generating enough curiosity so somebody goes to the long format content and probably watches it. It's a mix and match. Secondly, and honestly, as per my perspective, if we talk on the future of influencer marketing, it's going to be a non-human approach. Probably in next 5 years' time, we would be watching Foodka in the metaverse, doing somewhere, maybe exploring food in Mars or exploring food in Iceland, wherein I'm actually sitting in Calcutta. I don't know. Maybe Shivajida would be traveling to space, traveling to sun to do something, selling basmati chawal over there. I'm not very sure on that part, but maybe metaverse is going to be the future, which we do not have much idea as of now. The only thing that we know that we normally do not know anything, and we are able to learn. That's it. Learn, adapt. The age that we both come from, we have watched the TVs with windows, where we actually shut the TVs. Right. And with some laced, nice white cloth on top of that so it doesn't get dusted.
And the flower vase on top.
Correct. And the flower vase on top. We used to go on to shift the antenna so that we get a better picture. I don't know how many of you can relate to that, but it's a fact. And we have come to a platform where we are using auto captions, we are using generative AIs, we are using Google Trends. We, both of us, all of us, Shomak and everybody, we use that. It's been a long journey. Pre-COVID, even 7 days back, 7 days before COVID lockdown, if somebody told us that the world will get on wearing masks and the world will be shut down, we'll be seeing dolphins in Ganga, I would have asked, boss, jo tu phunk raha hai, mere ko thoda de de, kam aayega. Honestly, I would have just asked that. But we have witnessed that. So I'm not very sure what can be the trend. The trend is that we have to adapt. We have to adapt very, very quickly to cater to an audience who's probably below my son's or daughter's age. That's what I can say. I'm not very sure.
So like, you know, in like every other area of our life, you would expect AI to play a much, much bigger role.
Without any
in-
doubt, AI
yeah.
is going
AI will be the future based on a human being. What AI can do is it can crawl data, it can gather data in a very, very short time. If I write something that give me five very successful Indian influencer campaigns, it can gather that data. It can generate ideas based on past campaigns, but it cannot create something which is very original. For example, when say Unmesh, Makura memes, they got that Bakri factor. It was created by them. No AI could have generated that. When Shumak got onto that mother on OMG, many people still know him as that, oh, acha, OMG Mata, na?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, we'll discuss it later. Some people might relate Shiva Ida to that guy who just travels. Ponchasher pore purusher songa palte doba and stuff like that. For me, who is having a booze, a mohua or a bangla on screen with parallel to some very fancy wines? So these are the human beings where people trust on a human. We love to talk to a human. We love to believe a human rather than some AI image or AI creation who will actually be a part of that human being. This is personally what I feel.
Yeah, so that's very heartening to hear that, you know, I mean, we will all be around to do our jobs.
Yeah, so there are niche-based AIs coming up right now. So there are AI influencers nowadays, and the most recent one was, I think, it's an Indian AI influencer called Kavya, and her niche is motherhood. So more niche and subcultures are going to be there. So we don't know there's a hip hop subculture there. There's maybe a subculture for only Jivanmukhi Gan. So
Amen to that.
so small niches will come around, and AI would be helping that as well, because that's the way the world is moving to. You know.
Yeah, Shama?
I would completely go against what is being discussed. And I would.
Shesh.
Na, Sheshab kichu na.
Na na shuru.
I would go out and say that I think everybody will go back to the fundamentals. I think everybody will go back to, one day they will go back to a square screen. I'll give you a few examples. Let's look at popular Indian music, Bollywood and Bollywood Plus. A lot has happened. We've gone from traditional Indian beats in Jatin Lalit's composition to EDM music where Badshah is composing. Now we have Anuv Jain who gets up on the stage with just one guitar. But what works for Anuv Jain is what he's talking about in his song. He's talking about the angst that affects a 16-year-old. A 16-year-old is not too messed up about gadgets. That person is messed up about suppressed feelings. If we look at consuming music, I'm starting with music because I think that speaks to me very personally. We are seeing that LP records are coming back. People are buying, yes, digitally produced, of course.
And in a super premium way.
Yes, super premium. And now, like Shayantan said, the niche of AI, it has been an old concept. For example, if you have seen this Arijit Singh's video, Arijit went to a podcast where he's talking about auto-tune. He says very clearly the auto-tune sab istemal karte hain. What it does is, it corrects your pitch at certain places, because when the artist or when the singer is singing with passion, your note will move, and that is the human element. One of the biggest advocates for what I'm saying is today's conference. This could have been done on Zoom. But why have you hired this auditorium and why have you brought people? Because human connection. There is no alternative. There is no technology we can beat that can beat that. If you ask, thank you. See, this applause, this will come only when there is a physical environment where their energy is being transmitted directly. On Zoom, we will probably mute that. "আরে কি বলছে, ভুলভাল বলছে, শুনবো না আমি." So more focus needs to be there on going back to fundamentals. One last thing, let's look at fashion trends. I'm a 90s kid, I'm a millennial kid. When I was growing up, I was born in 88, and say I got my senses in about 93, 94. I understood what fashion is and what jeans meant. We were wearing baggy stuff. We were wearing jeans which was one size bigger. Then we went to college, everything became skinny. Now it has again gone back to oversized clothes. So I think this whole trend business is a cycle that will keep going on and on. वो मैं समय हूँ, रायना नहीं, पर मैं समय हूँ जो चलता जाएगा. It will keep going, it will keep coming back. Even food habits. There was a time when coffee shops came up and restaurants came up. And suddenly, after COVID, thanks to COVID, maybe, people have discovered the joy of cooking at home. Wherein a generation, our generation, a generation before that, they have grown up on home cooked food. So now I think it's the only way we can go is back. We have gone forward enough. Of course, things which need to go forward is perspective, mentality, tolerance, equality, and a space for difference of opinion, which rare to find in our immediate society these days. But technology wise, content wise, storytelling wise, I think we have done our best work. And sometimes we need to look back over our shoulders to reference, kya kiya tha bhai? Let's do that again.
Tech companies won't be very happy with you, Shomak.
I don't have a problem. But I think tech companies will also understand that at the end of the day, technology facilitates and not creates or leads. That is my opinion. Of course, people might disagree. But technology will facilitate. I will give you an example. So I am a very recent user of the iOS universe. And there is this thing on Apple Music called spatial audio, wherein they take the entire track and they make it feel it as if the musicians are playing it around you. And I listened to a very old track made in the 70s, but care has been taken to restore it to this format. This is what I'm talking about. Something which was recorded in a studio in an analog format has been digitized so well, keeping the soul of the creation same. See, there is a reason why Kal Ho Na Ho released and is running to full theaters for over 3 weeks. It's a movie everybody has seen. But why do you want to go back to the theater and see SRK in his 40s, coming out on the screen and doing the whole thing? SRK has, now Jawan has been a bigger film in terms of revenue and business. But what is that thing which is making people look back again? I think we're living in a time where we were promised a lot of things and that did not happen. There is a reason why people are looking back. There is a reason why nostalgia always works. I'm not saying that go back. I'm not saying that regress in your way of life. But what I'm saying is that going back to fundamentals is essentially important. Thank you.
And using technology to your benefit and not the other way around. Not being a
Absolutely.
slave to technology is
Absolutely.
what you're talking about.
Shomak, probably fundamentals have always worked. Maybe
Yeah.
with technology we have fine-tuned it.
Yeah.
We have brought it to our home. But fundamentals like storytelling, like music, like human touch, these are the basics.
Yes.
They
absolutely.
have always worked for us. I don't know anything else.
Yeah, and they will be there always.
Hopefully. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
But the fact is that as far as the influencer marketing is concerned, in near future,
Yeah.
it's
No,
going to be
again, influencer marketing is a term that we are using because, well, we've kept this topic, but I think this word in itself doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. Marketing in itself is very vague to define.
yeah.
Let's look at what Zomato is doing. The CEO goes out and delivers his own product. Which company CEO is going out and selling his own product? Nobody did that. Zomato CEO did that. Maybe he did that because he thought that this would be a good PR stunt. Maybe he did that because he just wanted to. We don't know. We saw something that worked. Only that, see, what will work is only retrospective. Maybe except somebody like Steve Jobs, who had the insight to think that someday people will listen to 1,000 songs in their pocket. But not everybody can be Steve Jobs. But again, insight and foresight, all of these things have to come together. There will be there will be a gut feeling, there will be data to tell you that we can go this way, but there has to be a space to understand that we might be wrong.
Yes, of
because
course.
we are dealing with people, we're dealing with human beings, and human beings are the most fickle minded yet very united organisms in this world. And that is the beauty of human beings, the human brain. That I'm agreeing with you. For the first 6 months, I agree with you. On the 7th month, I hate you so much that I don't want to see your face. On the 11th month, I come back. The duty of the product, of the artist, of the creator is to be there when that person comes back.
Of course, of course.
That's what I'm trying to say. It too beshi complicated হয়ে গেল, but I just spoke from my heart. Thank you.
No, no, deep philosophy.
So, while we're talking about a future, I would want to ask Mr. Paul, do you think going forward, influencers will play a much bigger role in shaping consumer behavior?
Yeah, of course. Of course. The traditional way of marketing is going to be there. It's not going to be discarded. It will be always there. But the share of influencer marketing is going to grow as well. As I said earlier, people are having a faith on the influencers, and they're spending more and more time with the content creators' content. That is what is the affecting factor or deciding factor. Earlier it was TV, it was newspaper or the billboards, but nowadays more time is being consumed on handheld devices. So the way you can get into the mind of the consumer is through the handheld devices, and it's going to increase in near future. And that's my view. That's my take. Of course, the brands are going to create separate desk for analyzing this thing and getting into this thing. So that's the thing.
Thanks.
Just adding on to Shivaji, what he said, that's a great thing to say. But you know what? Marketers will know this. Billboards still work.
Yeah, of course. I'm not discarding that.
Yeah.
Billboards are there, but in future, the influence of the contents are going to increase in near future. That is
Yes,
what I'm telling.
Absolutely.
Billboards will be always there.
Probably
always.
influencer marketing is one of those four wheels of a car.
Yes.
Fifth wheel.
You cannot
Stepney.
discard the
Not the
traditional
stepney,
one.
Not the Stepney.
Not the stepney, the one wheel that works. But where the gear is, the wheel which moves.
Yeah.
But the billboard, if you put up a billboard or a traditional thing, people take you till date, at least India, more seriously. Let me take an example of the campaign for Hoichoi's brand, where Shomak worked. The food
Bhojan
brand.
Bilashi. Yeah.
So Bhojan Bilashi, when it was launched with an offline campaign.
Right.
Then went on to the online brand. So it's like managing two wheels together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Offline moved the viewers to that online, that something is coming. People thought, acha, hoichoi to arekhana food blogging channel khullo.
Yeah.
It was like that. But somehow it worked. Somehow it got people hooked. Whether it was 1 season, 10 season, 100 season, forget about that. But it worked. So influencer marketing is emerging as one of the most powerful wheel. For example, if I talk of this guy called Ranveer Allahabadi, I don't know how many of you know him or follow him, Beer Biceps. So when he collaborated with a brand called Adidas, Ranveer Allahabadi used to be a fitness freak before this Beer Biceps and podcast thing. When he went on to this fitness journey, he plugged in Adidas. That I work with Adidas, I use Adidas and stuff, nice shoes, nice of shots of his physique or whatever. But it worked.
Yeah.
When Cariminati worked with this bag brand called Arctic X, in spite of the numbers, it was done long back. Last week when my son was looking for a school bag, he said me, Baba, oi Arctic X brand ache na Cariminati korechilo. So somehow he doesn't know the features of Arctic X bags. What comes to his mind is this guy called Cariminati did something with this thing. So this is probably how it works.
Yeah. So basically, influencer marketing cannot only be the standalone thing. So it's among the marketing mix that we are generally using, and it's because the consumer behavior has changed and the consumption pattern has changed. Today, I might not go out for a drive, but I am still scrolling my reels.
Yeah.
So if I miss seeing it on the road, I have it on my reels. And we are like, scrolling innumerable content, and the people we are following are also very diverse. I mean, the new example is I see reels of this truck driver from Jamtara called Rajesh. I don't know if any of you watched it. Yeah. He goes on his trips and he makes food there, and now brands are collaborating with him. But they're also making sure that it's not a luxury product. It's something that Rajesh's subscribers would actually want to see. So that's what is happening, and yeah.
I think we're talking about a synergy between the two, like the offline and online,
course,
working in
and-
tandem.
And one more thing,
Yeah.
the generation which are coming up now, as he said and Indrajit said, that billboard are still having relevance, but the generations which are coming up, the new generation, how many of them are actually out of the world, out of this handheld devices world? I mean, most of the time they are not reading the text that we read. They have not seen the movies that we did. They're actually in the virtual world. They're growing up there. So looking into the billboard may become a lesser activity. And if you want to go into the mind of this new generation, I guess this will, I mean, as mentioned, the influencer marketing is going to be more relevance going ahead. It's going to take over the others. That's my take.
That's an interesting point, because
Going
if
ahead
you look
is
at
going
that
to be the-
generation, they're glued to the phones.
Yes.
They're not even noticing.
So
the
they are going to
billboards on
grow up in next 5 years. You're going to have a generation. Most of them have not read a book. If they had, then that's also on their phone or on iPad. So if you
the-
want
They don't look out of the car
no,
windows. Yeah.
no. So that's what I'm
I
concerned
think
of.
that's a bit of an overgeneralization.
Now, there was this movie called Ready Player One. I don't know how many of you have watched
Yeah,
it
yeah.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant movie of a dystopian world where
Right.
everybody's aim is to just play and win one single game. Whoever
Exactly.
wins the game gets that game, is the owner of that game. It's a movie by Steven Spielberg. It was the same thing. Everybody is having some VR device, playing some game, single one game, where everybody is trying to kill the other. Probably, I don't know, it's an exaggeration. I don't know whether Skynet will come or not. But I didn't even know that someday the entire world will move out with a mask. I don't know what.
I just wanted to make this point. I think that's a bit of an overgeneralization when we talk about the youngest generation or the young generations completely.
No, Shomang, they are still creative, but the percentage, yes, please go on.
No,
Answer.
my observation is again, this overgeneralization will always be there from an older generation. যে
Right.
আমাদের সময় আমরা हमारे जमाने में हम ये किया करते थे।
mostly true.
It's mostly true, but this generation that you're talking about, that they are glued on their phones. When there was a heinous incident in Kolkata, it is this generation that went out on the streets first.
Absolutely,
But they saw it
absolutely.
on social media first. That's how they
See,
came
this
to
is
know
where
about
this
it.
This is where I'm coming to my next point. So, if you think of social media or internet or video, it's a tool. You can take a knife and cut an apple or kill a person. It's about the person who's using that tool. Yes, of course, the internet penetration and digital usage and device usage is very high among youngsters. But it is wrong to assume that they do not look out or call out or talk about things which are important. They do not have important discussions. I just think that what they deem to be important is something we don't understand. For example, Dua Lipa came and did this huge concert in Mumbai, wherein she did this mashup of her song Levitating and a song from Shah Rukh Khan's movie Badshah. वो लड़की जो सबसे अलग है. And the youngsters lapped it up. And you know who didn't like it? The singer of the song, Abhijit. He had a lot to say. Who is Dua Lipa?
Oh, this gentleman doesn't like most of the things. Let's not go
So
there.
now I can say that he represents a generation. তাহলে কি আমি গোটা জেনারেশনকে খারাপ বলবো যে these people don't appreciate
This is
It's
like
not
Rajesh
that.
Khanna and Amitabh Bachchan.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not that. It's basically, if I think, in my experience, I see younger people more appreciative of work that has happened before. Like again, I go back to the re-releases. Veer Zara released. I went inside the hall. You won't believe how many college goers and how many school students were there because they wanted to see that movie on the bigger screen. So that is there. I'm harping on this, and I'm speaking very passionately because I really work with youngsters. I talk to these people, and it is wrong to assume, to brand an entire generation that this generation will not go anywhere. This has happened before. Again, people who were growing up in the 60s, in the 70s, when during the age of rock and roll, where people grew their hair out and they were smoking weed, and their fathers would say, "The age generation and kichu hobe na." Those
No.
people.
No, no, we're not saying kichu hobe na. It's just
No,
we're
no,
talking
no.
about the
I'm saying,
digital,
no, but that
digital.
thought has
I'm
been
saying
there.
that it's growing. I mean, it's growing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But see,
Let-
again, like I said, these things keep coming back. Every generation is
of course,
criticized.
the human
by
touch will be
previous-
always there.
Every generation is criticized by the previous generation because we don't understand what they represent.
No, no, no. I'm not criticizing. It's okay. It's
it's
all
good to criticize
practical.
also.
But
No,
the
I think
fact is that in near future, if you calculate the way or the strategy of marketing, so it's going to grow. I mean,
Yeah, I think
now one example I would like to give you guys. কিশোর কুমারের যে গানগুলো পরবর্তীকালে on YouTube you can go ahead and see someone named I cannot remember, but nowadays young generation से একটা पॉपुलर गान, एक पॉपुलर गाना जो किशोर दा ने गाया था, वो हमने सुना कि ये गाना कौन गाया भाई, उसने वो नए बंदे का नाम लिया,
Yeah. That has happened.
किशोर कुमार का नाम नहीं लिया उसने.
No, Shivaida, that's the beauty. The song is living.
The song is
Forget about
living,
the
but
singer.
that is regenerated, recreated. So that is how the social media is dealing with the new generation, or the influence of social media on the
But
new generation.
Shivaji
In
da,
fact,
this has happened before. When Indranil Sen and Srikanto Arjun did Shurer Bolaka, everybody thought that the old song by Gauri Prasanna Mojumdar is their song.
there, right.
So again, like I tell you, this keeps
It's
happening
fine.
in
The
loop.
song is living.
The song lives.
Okay.
The music lives.
so. We are all adopters of the digital age, and the new generation are the natives. So they're born there. I mean, as I think Bain said that you merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it.
Yes.
It's very similar now. We adopted it. They are born in it. So.
So we are talking about the young generation, and I'll come to my last question now. We are running out of time. So, Shomak, you are, I assume, the youngest in the panel. So I would like to ask you
True, I'm true.
about, if somebody an youngster aspires to be a influencer today, what are the key skills that one should acquire?
Don't aspire
Also-
to be an influencer. First of all.
No, also like you have done or like Indrajit has done, is it important to choose a niche segment right at the beginning?
I think there are three things which are very important. First is figure out what is that thing that you do very well and at ease. You are very good at, you are better than your peers, and you can do it consistently. The only thing that matters is consistency. Number one. Number two is aspiration should not be views, and this is also for brands and marketers. Aspirations should not be for views or engagement or anything. Aspiration should be for shelf life. We can still go on YouTube and search for the old Hamara Bajaj ad, which speaks to our heart, where in the old generation and the new generation, Badal Rahe Hain Hum Yahan, where there are a couple of bikers in leather jackets, but they avoid the rangoli that is there. The new and the old come together and preserve what is modern India. Modern India is a mix of the traditional values and the new age development. That ad will still speak to you. Shalimar is a partner today. Every time before Pujo, you can hear everybody on their phone going, "Ei Prandhala Utshave bar bar, alo asha bhalobasha mishe ekakar." That happened 30 years back. Why is it still speaking to people? Because there is love in that. There is a thought in that. There is an idea to talk about something which means so close to my heart. That's number two. And number three is, actually there's no number three. That's just it. Thank you.
Thank you. So, we have about 5 minutes. So I would invite some audience questions. So if anybody has a question, can we get the mics passed around, please?
So you can just pick it out. I guess we have a.
Do we have a mic that can be passed around?
I can take my.
Very pertinent question. I am not from marketing, I am in economics. As per statistics, and Swam can also add, 44% to 55% of the contents in social media are fake.
Yeah.
You agree?
Well,
Just 1 minute.
Yeah.
55% is USA, and in India it is around 44%. That is what the latest statistics you can check up from AI also. Under these circumstances, the credibility of the influencers are certainly at stake. Whatever we find in the social media today, particularly in the political area, social area, economic area, 90% are fake. You will see Mr. Murthy is giving an advice how to make 10,000 to 10 billion. Mukesh Ambani is giving how to make money in a 1 week of few billions. These are very, very common. So in that case, credibility of anything being contained in the social media is at big stake until and unless. So how you are going to deal with this? And second question is that in marketing, whatever I understand little bit, whatever differentiation you take through influencer, through contents, it is short-lived. Because you have a competitor, if you come out with any differentiation in terms of predictability or appearance, it will be copied by your competitor. Maybe could be a gap of 1 to 2 months. It is short-lived. There is no lasting impact. What you adopt, doesn't have any lasting impact. Under these circumstances,
Would
how
anybody like
influencer will
to
deal
answer
with?
that, please? Yeah.
Can I take it? Can I take
Sir
it?
Shomak, and then I'll have
Take
a
the first
few
one,
things
I'll-
to add.
Thank you so much, sir, for your question.
Sorry,
No, absolutely. It's a very pertinent question. I think the first question, to answer your first question, what is important, like I said, is consistency. You deliver the truth every time in terms of your product. Let's not look at social media. Let's look at a bank. A new bank comes up, I will not go and open an account. But the bank year on year starts giving better returns, better products. I hear about it word of mouth. If the bank shut shop in 5 years, then we know that that did not work. But were they not honest about it? Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. There were real estate companies in this state who promised a lot of things and they turned out to be a chit fund. Numerous village people invested their money in that because they thought that. So it's not just social media, sir. There are cheats everywhere. In every industry, in every office, in every company, there are cheats everywhere. What we need to do, whether it's social media or you have a stall, I'll give you a small example. There's this roadside cart on Rashbiari Avenue. I will not take their name. There's this one woman who finishes her work, comes and sits there and sells deep fried, completely unhygienic stuff. But she ensures quality. And there are people from Behala, people from Newtown coming just to take a taste of that. I am not advertising unhealthy food. I am a lifestyle. I'm changing my lifestyle. I am advocating healthy food myself. But the point I'm trying to make is whether you sell bananas on the road or you're the top creator in this world, you have to deliver the truth. The truth, if you are a journalist, the truth of information. If you are a lifestyle creator, the truth of what product you're having. If you're having whey protein every day, you have to tell your audience that, bhai, isme 24 gram protein hai. I do not have this on an empty stomach, and I have been advised by these are examples I'm giving you. That's number one. And number two is, I think where there are so many products, so many creations and IPs which do not last, there are some which have lasted way more than people expected it to be. People in Bengal, let's look at, see, I belong from the world of audio and audiobooks and broadcast. Audiobooks are in Bengal, audiobooks are growing like how. But all of this was started by this radio show called Sunday Suspense. Everybody thought it would die out in 3 months. It's been 15 years. It is still going strong. Because for every week, that show has delivered quality. It is about quality, the consistency of quality, the truth of quality. And if 1 week your influencer cannot come up with a video, the influencer or the artist should go on a live and say, "Je, bhai, aaj to nahi ho paya because I have a crisis at home." my aunt is not well, or there's something happening. Please forgive me. I'll come back next week. You see what that does to your brand. You see what honesty does to your brand. It's not about making money. It's not about the salary. Like Fort Minor wrote, it's not about the salary. It's all about reality and making some noise. Make that noise, make the true noise, and see what that does for you. Thank you.
Secondly, sir, I would like to talk on something else. So, what is truth? For example, I run a humble food blog channel. Last week, one of my videos got a comment which was done 5 years back. Dada, yesterday we went there, the food was rubbish, maybe you were paid. So, do I call that person a nonsense? Because that video was published 5 years back. What we experienced then cannot be judged in today's perspective. What was the reality then might have changed. So, the viewer, there is an ownership on the viewer's part as well. You choose what you get. So, there is garbage in, garbage out. Every dependency cannot be on the content creator. It cannot be, and it should never be.
And eventually people understands what is fake and what is not fake. Eventually, with time, if we are having the, as Somak said, consistency, then eventually people understands. Filtered out.
Thank you. I think we're running out of time today, so I'm really sorry I will not be able to take any more audience question. Thank you to all the speakers for this extremely engaging and entertaining. Thanks largely to Somak on the session. Thank you.